This is Jonathan Aggie, your fifth pro boxing fans, joined by Eddie Hearn, who's in Philadelphia ahead of tomorrow night's Boots Ennis fight against Lima. Eddie, before we get into that and your show in Sheffield, today the funeral took place for Ricky Hatton. Thousands of people turned out in Manchester. Is that just show the mark of the man he was?
Yeah, I think whenever you see not just how many people went, but the kind of general support of the boxing industry, the people of Manchester and beyond as well. Like you just realise how well this man was received, how much he was loved, and it was a very heartbreaking to see the family as always. Like Campbell, I think Campbell has shown such incredible strength through this whole thing. I could only imagine how he's feeling. Matthew has been so brave. He's a lovely man. His son Jack. I mean, their daughter Lola. Like these are people that adored Ricky. Paul Speak, who's been with Ricky like for 20 odd years and beyond. Um, Obviously his parents. Like you can only imagine how difficult the day was, but nothing can soothe that pain. But you can look around you and see, wow, like people, how much people love my dad or my brother or my uncle or my son. You know, it's very sad to see someone lose their life so young, especially someone with so much character and personality. And may God rest his soul. And we should all remember not just what a great fighter he was, but what a great bloke he was. And very sad day.
Yeah, absolutely. Eddie, obviously two shows for you this weekend. I'll start in Sheffield with Dave Allen. He told me shortly after the Johnny Fisher fight a little story about you two where he messaged you on Instagram about something completely unrelated to boxing and you got back to him straight away, called him. And when he had a fight fall through, which wasn't his fault, you were able to give him some money. Have you always had that sort of soft spot for Dave and wanted him to get to moments like this?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult not to have a soft spot for Dave. I mean, at times I found him incredibly frustrating because I actually believed in him as a fighter and I felt like he had ability. Um, but he just couldn't get the work ethic right. And, I think Johnny Fisher was unlucky because he came up against finally a Dave Allen that was training, was in camp, had a proper team, was motivated, and you saw the result of that. Now, Dave's taking it to another level with his preparation, but he's also stepping up to a level, beyond. And, we've worked together for years. He's infuriated me at times. He's wound me up at times. I've looked after him a lot as well. And, there was always the story of, oh, I told him not to take the Daniel Dubois fight. The reason I told him not to take the Daniel Dubois fight is I felt like he would have got badly hurt in that fight with how he was living, with how he was preparing for fights. Now, I'd kick him into that fight. Do you know what I mean? But you can't fight at this level when you're not prepared. It's dangerous. And I always said to him that if you get yourself right, financially, you're going to get the opportunities. And look at what's happening now. He's got his biggest payday on Saturday night, but there's a whole nother level beyond this type of money. And that comes through victory against Makhmudov. And everyone keeps saying to me, who could be next for Dave Allen? I don't think there's a heavyweight in the world other than Alexander Usyk that he couldn't fight next if he wins in good style on Saturday. So this is the fight that makes him a surefire millionaire, and I'd love to see it. And I think a lot of the country would love to see it as well because we're going to have close to 9,000 in there on Saturdays. One of the biggest shows Sheffield's seen in decades, and it's Dave Allen. He told me 2 years ago he fought in Sheffield. He sold 23 tickets. So it's just a phenomenal turnaround. And people love Dave Allen. People know that he's a genuine guy. He's a man of the people. He's unbelievably honest. He's vulnerable. He's just everything that normal life is. And if he wins on Saturday, he becomes a big star.
With Boots Ennis, people can say what they want about Lima. They're going to watch it. You've said that this guy beats Fundora, Ortiz, so people want to see if he can back it up tomorrow. Do you think that he wins this fight, he goes straight into a WBA title fight with Barao, or does he go a different route?
Yeah, I think that, we want to get our hands on the belt, but we also want to be in the biggest fights. So for me, whilst it doesn't carry a full world championship, the Virgil Ortiz fight is an amazing fight. And I think it's one of the best in boxing. So that kind of takes priority. We've already signed for that fight from our side. And, Eric Gomez said they want to try and sit down and make that fight after he fights Lubin coming up. I like the Mertzalayev fight. I like the Fedora fight. I like the Zayas fight. Yes, the Baru fight is also there. And, I know he's not the biggest name, but it's also got a world championship as well. I just believe that this guy is a future pound for pound number one of the sport. But you've got to back it up with a resume. We did that against Stanionis. He was the number one welterweight in the world. Boots battered him on probably 60 or 70%. Wait till you now see him at 154. He'll be a different animal. And this Lima's live. He's dangerous. And he has no fear. He's here to roll the dice, and he's going to put himself right in the firing line, and he's going to let his hands go. But that's also dangerous against someone as good as Ennis. And I just think this guy's the real deal.
You said in an interview the other day that December 20th in Africa is a date that you're looking at. Is that finalised, and would that be AJ?
It wouldn't be AJ, no. I mean, an AJ fight in Africa is looking more like sort of February of next year. But we are working with a number of countries right now to stage fights, and there's a chance you could see Matchroom involved in a show December 20th in Africa.
Ben Whittaker, obviously, viral video the other day. Simon Jordan thought it wasn't very original thinking, which was surprising. But yeah, what do you make of
Surprising? I don't know. Yeah, I saw Chris Eubank as well commented on
Yeah.
the Matchroom box. He's like, "This isn't original." No, mate, it's from a film. Chill out. What's the matter with you? And by the way, it was Ben Whittaker's idea, which was a great idea. I mean, you saw the numbers. He's done millions of views all around the world. So I think people just need to lighten up a little bit. Um, no, it's not very original. No, it's from a Jerry Maguire film. I mean, we copied it from a film, and loads of people before have done it, but we just did it differently, and we did it more powerfully. So yeah, it was a massive signing for us, and that video just goes to show the personality of the guy, and that's something that appeals to me. But it's at the same time not something that is why I'm signing Ben Whittaker. The reason I'm signing Ben Whittaker is I believe he can be one of the best fighters in the world. I believe he can be light heavyweight world champion. And I've known about the guy for 5, 6 years. I knew about him when he was the top boy at GB. I knew about him when he went to the Olympics and won silver and was devastated because he was only there for gold. So the showmanship, social media following, all that powerful stuff is brilliant. That's an added bonus, but we need to get him active and get him on a run to start preparing him for those kind of fights, because you look at the division, Bivol, Beterbiev, Benavides, even below that, Callum, Yard, Buatsi. Like, these are real tough fights, and he's going to mix it with all of those guys. But I just need two fights, 3 months, 3 fights, 6 months, getting him active, beating top 15 guys, and preparing him for what's to come, which is ultimately really tough fights in a tough division.
Simon speculated that, well, to his knowledge, he felt that he heard that they were in some sort of secure contract with Boxer. I'm guessing you're not worried about that at all.
Well, clearly not. I mean, when we, as I've said so many times, we don't speak to people who are under contract. And once we receive notification that they're not, and we're comfortable with that position, then we will start talks and discussions. So, that was something that happened from the Whittaker side. And, we're very comfortable with our position, and we're looking forward to a long, successful relationship with Ben.
Moving on to Dana White, you sort of said that you feel like you're in competition with him now. I know he said promoters don't think like he does, which you took exception to. But if his goal with TKO is to build prospects and then go down that route, are you really in competition with him? Because you're.
Time, and I want to be in competition with him because it's going to make me perform better, and it's going to make me more excited. So, the narrative gets spun of Eddie v Dana in boxing, but I don't mind the narrative. I love it. It's an honour to be taking him on. You know, for years I've looked at the guy, you know, maybe as a little bit of a promotional role model. You know, he's built a massive fight sports business. He's an excellent promoter. The company is fantastic. They made a lot of money. So now I get to go up against him. I never thought I would get this opportunity. And I'm excited by it. So yeah, you can't say, if you want to come into the boxing space and if you want to say, I'm going to rule boxing, I'm going to be the CEO of boxing, how can you say you're not a competitor? Of course you're a competitor. Now, what he said was, we don't. I mean, I'm included in that because boxing promoters don't think big. I mean, that's something I've never been accused of in the past. And, you know, I don't think we're ever going to get in any kind of personal beef because I like the guy and I respect him, but I'm up for the fight. And I think it will really bring me on. And I think having him in boxing is a brilliant thing for the sport.
Obviously, he's involved with Turkey Al Sheikh. How's his deal different to maybe Matchroom's deal with Turkey?
I mean, our deal is, you know, a commercial deal across Riyadh season, servicing Riyadh season and Ring Magazine events, you know, big sponsorship partnership as well. And of course, you know, we've now got that partnership across many of our other sports in Matchroom as well. I think the league, I don't know the structure of the relationship with Seller and Riyadh season. Maybe it's a JV, maybe it's an investment. I don't know. But, you know, I had a question before. Someone said to me, why does Turkey keep supporting you and Ben Shalom and Frank Warren and when he's sort of in a business relationship with TKO? And that's because Turkey Al Sheikh wants to work with everybody and he wants to support the industry. He wants to support everybody. And he has sponsorship deals with not just me, Frank and Boxer. He has them with Golden Boy. He has them with Top Rank. He has them with many other organisations around the world. So, you know, TKO, the league is one thing, but also then you've got Riyadh season, you've got Ring Magazine events, you know, you've got the Underdog events, you've got the magazine itself. So he needs those partnerships and that support around the world as well.
Would you be willing to work with Dana?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always had a really good relationship with him. So it depends. You know, I don't expect anything less from Dana to come out and say, we're going to rule boxing. We're going to be the biggest thing in boxing. Because if I went into MMA, I'd say the same thing. Now, whether you're good enough to do it is another story. I back myself in boxing. I don't think he can compete with me in terms of how I promote boxing and what I know about the sport and how I can develop fighters. But he's a very smart guy. They've got a very powerful business. And I'm not an idiot to think that they're just going to come in and be low key and not do well. They are going to do well, and it's great for the sport. But just like, as I said, if I went into his space and said, I'm going to be massive in MMA and we're going to be the biggest thing in MMA, he would come out and go, what? Right, let's see. So we just back ourselves. But I think the fight will be good and it will be a pleasant fight. You know, it won't be a personal insult back and forward. I can't speak highly enough of the guy, but I'm really pumped and up for the fight, which is good for you guys, good for fight fans. You know, sometimes people joke, oh, Eddie, have you still got the hunger for it? Yeah, I'm fucking starving. So you'll see that in 2026.
What do you think his biggest challenges coming into the sport, and how do you feel you differ from him as a promoter?
I mean, knowledge, of course, and understanding about fighters and developing them. You know, I mean, I know that he said he likes boxing. He's always, you know, but it's a different thing. It's just like me going into MMA and started talking about fighters' resumes and fights to make for them and records and performances and all this kind of stuff. I think the main thing is they don't want to pay fighters the same kind of money that we pay fighters. They want to make more profit from the shows. And that's one of the reasons they want the Muhammad Ali Act abolished, because they don't want the talent to be able to see the revenue in the show. You know, something that people don't know is the Muhammad Ali Act, as we have a show in Philadelphia, we have to show every fighter on the card how much revenue is in the show from the TV broadcaster and from the gates. It's quite, you know, it's pretty cool, really. Like, in a way, it's quite, a lot of people don't like it, but we've got nothing to hide because in boxing, we pay a massive percent of the revenue to the fighters, not just Matchroom, all promoters. But they don't want to do that because that's not their model. So they can't afford to show you what Paramount are paying and how much the gate is when they're doing a league where some bloke's getting 50 or 100 grand, you
Mm.
know? So they don't want that. So the model's going to be very different. And they're talking about changing Muhammad Ali Act. They're talking about a new ring that they want to put in. They want to change the rules. They want to create their own belt. We're going the other way. We're going, no, actually, we want real boxing. I don't want a purple canvas. I want a blue canvas with red and white fucking ropes. Old school championship fights, the best be the best. Unification, belts on the line. I want to see the WBC belt up there, the Ring Magazine belt, WBA, IBF, WBO. That is legacy of the sport. You say to any fighter with any ambition for legacy, oh, look, you can come over here, you can fight for a Zuffer belt. They're going to go, what? They want to win these championship belts. Their idols have won it. The stars of the past have won it. So you're going to see an unbelievable schedule from us in 2026, and you're going to see the best fighting the best, and hopefully a coming together from the industry to make the big fights happen.
Last few, Ryan Garcia said he does not believe Golovkin is a Hall of Fame fighter because of his resume. What do you think of that?
You know what? I think that there's a difference between the quality of a fighter and the resume and the wins that they have. I was having a little bit of a back and forth with some American reporters yesterday about Crawford. And I said Crawford, I think, is a generational great. But unfortunately for him, he hasn't consistently fought a lot of elite pound for pound guys in their prime. And they're like, what? What? I said, okay, let's debate it. Who
Mhm.
has he fought who is a true great in their absolute prime? And he went, Errol Spence. I said, no, come on. You know that when he fought Errol Spence, he was not damaged goods, but he was nowhere near the fighter that he was. Canelo Alvarez. I said, no. I said, he's a great. He's still on the pound for pound list, but he's not anywhere near his prime when he was probably 5 years ago when he fought Golovkin or that kind of, stage. Oh, Gamboa. I was like, come on. Even though Crawford would beat all of the guys that maybe he didn't get to fight, and it wasn't his fault. And Golovkin the same. Like, I get Ryan Garcia's, like, so, my question is, tell me Golovkin's best wins.
Brooke, probably.
Yeah, but Brooke, I mean, again, I made the fight. Brooke was a welterweight, and it was a
Mm.
good win. Daniel Jacobs' fight was a close fight, but again, Jacobs very good middleweight, not a, the draw with Canelo, if that would have gone his way, that would have been a massive win. But Golovkin was amazing, one of my favourite fighters of the generation. So I do think Gennady Golovkin should go on in the Hall of Fame
Mm.
because he did have some good wins. But what I'm saying is he was much avoided. He always wanted to fight all those guys, but it wasn't easy to match Gennady Golovkin because everyone knew how good he was and how dangerous he was.
Mm.
You know, but then sometimes you have a great resume, like you fought everybody, but you had a couple of defeats. So then, as fight fans, because we like an argument, we turn around and goes, "Yeah, but you lost. You lost against him. You lost against him." It's like, yeah, but you also beat everybody else and fought everybody who you could have fought. So, but I do think Golovkin should go in the Hall of Fame.
Just quickly, just circling back to boxer and the whole Riyadh season sponsorship. Is that enough to keep them, in business for and achieve what they want to achieve? In your opinion, are you aware of how much they've got?
Boxer,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I'm aware because it's probably quite similar to all the sponsorship deals that he does. Yeah, I think it's a well needed added bonus. I mean, I think the bigger issue is the rights fees that you're getting. Can you do big fights and can you do great cards? The truth is, no, you can't. Right, but it doesn't matter. Not every card's got to be 5 championship fights stacked. Like, you work within your means. The bigger problem they have is I mean, I think Callum Simpson, they've just made an offer to fight Troy Williamson. That'll probably be a BBC fight. But then what about people like Lauren Price, who's unified world champion? She hasn't boxed since March.
Is she still
We
with
need
them?
to know. I believe so. I
Okay.
mean, Adam Azim's on the zone, you know. Look at Caroline Dubois. I mean, she's a phenomenal fighter. She hasn't boxed since March. She's a younger, and they're expensive, Jonathan. You know, like you can't just you can't do a card and put three of them on when you're not getting any rights fees. So that's the bigger issue. Is they've only got a small amount of shows. They've got a lot of talent to get out. That's very expensive. They don't mind Callum Simpson because he can sell 5,000-6,000 for a fight like that. You know. So listen, they're doing they're all right. They've got a great platform there, and wish them all the best.
Lastly, Carl Froch back in the ring or not?
I think probably a little bit of trying to create a little bit of hype, but I do think Carl's the kind of guy that would put the gloves on because he'll be massively tempted by a Darren Till fight, right? One, because of the money, but two, he's a competitor and he'll be thinking, I'd love to chin him. So I think, and Carl's the kind of guy that would probably put the gloves on and say to Rob McCracken, let's have a little session, see how I'm looking, you know? But may also wake up the next day and go, oh, sod that. Oh, shoulders all over the place, you know. So I reckon if I had to bet on it, I don't think it'll happen, but I would love to see it.
Cool. Well, marathon night tomorrow night, Saturday night. Tune in from 7 p.m. all night long.
Yeah, be a great night for boxing, both sides of the Atlantic, live on the zone. And we'll see you next week, Jonathan.
See you there. Appreciate it, Eddie. All the
Cheers.
best.